Shiurim and Barucha. Let's learn a bit of Tzav Vziruz. We're up to the 13th chapter. The Rebbe in this chapter discusses the ultimate proof that there's a God. So the Rebbe opens up, he says, certainly you have heard of seen Svarim books that deal with the existence of Hashem. Basically written for those who find it hard to believe. These books or these Svarim bring different proofs and of the creation itself and the wisdom of how it was created and nature. It all fits together. They make a beautiful tapestry that there must be a God. Zuk the Rebbe, oi, whoa, oi, ach. If that's what you need to prove that there's a God in your life. It's there, yeah, fine, it's good. Oh, but ach and vei, if that's where you're coming from. Have you, says the Rebbe, have you not felt? Have you not seen? Have you not your own neshama, the certainty that there is a God? You speak to Him, you daven, you do this mitzvahs, you hold on. There's formal prayer, informal prayer. You don't feel, you don't see the presence right there before you. What could you do? These books are good, they're academic, but what's going on in your neshama? And when your neshama cries out in pain, when you're broken, you're sad. Don't you see that the Aish tells us, I'm with you. Kiati ato imodi, you're with me, God. I know you're with me. Stehst du bei mir. You feel it, and you feel this clinging to Hashem. So this is the healing of our soul. Or when you yearn and you pour out your neshama and you cry, Eibishter, ot rachmunus of mir, the barm dike Tate in Himmel. Help me surrender my very self to you. You're going to say, it's not me. It is you. Everyone here, it is you. But you are keeping yourself, you've created a calcium wall in your neshama. But you can open it up. It's meant to be opened up. That's the avodas Hashem. That's why we're here. We don't believe only that, I proved it, so it's there. No. It's there anyway. Proof of God is within you, within the child's voice. The Yiddish krachs. There was a great Hasidic Rebbe, a Bleibele Eiger. As a young man, he became a chassid. He was an enikel from Rabbi Akiva Eiger. His father, Reb Shloimeh Eiger, was a misnagid. And Reb Bleibele is reingefallen, Nebuch. He fell into the hands of Kotsk. So he came home one time for a visit to his father. His father said, what is it that you found in amongst the Hasidim that you didn't know beforehand? What did you have to do this for? So he said, I found out, but in Kotsk I found out that there's a God. I said, du an Eibishter. So his father says, 1 minute. He calls in those days they had dienst mode. They had many times Yiddish meidlach that were Yesoimim or whatever, and they would help in the kitchen by the rabbis. And he calls in an unlettered, unschooled young lady. She says, Zugna, tell me, is there a God or isn't there a God? He asks this young girl. She says, there's a God. So he sends her back out. You see, even she knows it's a God. So what do you have to go to Kotsk? So the Bleibele turned to his father and said, Sie sagt, she says there's a God. In Kotsk I found out the Taka, there is a God. Because they opened up my heart, Tati. So that's what it's about. I've often said over the story, it's Kedai, it's worth to say it again. Many years ago when I was younger, I used to listen to stories from the Shas applied to these beautiful Jews who survived the Holocaust. One of which was a Yid guy. His name was Reb Leibele. This Reb Leibele was a Varshiva from Warsaw, and he told over he said it was, I think it was on Tisha B'Av. He was telling over his story. He says, when the Nazis, when the Nazis came and they liquidated the Warsaw ghetto. Liquidated it. Fires, everything was burning. I hid. I was short, and I scampered up into the rooftop. There was a balcony, that means there was a rafter. And in the corner behind the rafter, I hid myself. So he said the whole day I would stay up there hidden away. I'd hear noises, but at night I'd scurry down. And I'd find food or something to eat to keep myself alive. Potatoes, peelings, I don't know. And then I'd run back up before sunrise. I did this for months. He looked at me and said, at that time, I was certain I'm the last Jew alive in the whole world. How would I know differently? They were all taken away. I'm the last Jew alive. So I was young, a bit of a mechutzev maybe. So I said, Leibele, if you were the last Jew alive in the whole world, did you ever doubt? Did you ever think maybe there is Chas v'Shalom? He looked at me, what? How could you say such a thing? I never doubted for a second. I felt God in me and with me at every moment. Last Jew alive believes in God. Years when I was a Yingler, I davened by a sweet Jew, Polish Yid, Rav Yosef Gelernter. I've mentioned him before. Clement Veruv. He learned in Varshiva Mesifta. That was a girl who said Yida Kudish is an einik. Tall man. I remember one time I have this Snapchat. This brennt mir. It was Simchas Torah. And Rav Gelernter had a small sefer Torah in one hand. And he grabbed a hold of another one of the survivors who davened in his shul. I think his name was Moshkovitz, an Ungar Yid. And they held it like a triumphant threesome. And he was screaming, Hashem Melech, Hashem Mulach, Hashem Yim Lachli, Yoilam Vuet. And they were dancing up and down. Oh! No books are going to prove God. This is what God is. This is where you open your heart. And so says the Rebbe. He says, just yearning, just davening, just crying. And if you haven't done it, and if you haven't seen it, you can see it. You go to the Koisel, you go to any little shtibel, you see an older Jew making a bracha. Not everything is made out of paper mache. Not everything is Coca-Cola. There are Jews, real people in the world. I used to see by the Koisel such sweet neshamas. It's all there. People are alive. Our problem in the yeshivas today is that we don't teach emunah b'tochen to the kids. It's a taken. We're in a world today where everyone believes. Trust me, we need to teach the kids. We have to show them They have to see you making a bracha with an open heart, with your. If you come out of davening and you haven't been excited, what was it all about? If you pass by, if you have a young kippur and you don't cry and then don't thank God and dance afterwards, Baruch Hashem, I came so close to the Kaviyuchel, to the Eibishter, then what are you doing? You're wasting time. You're wasting your time. Don't do that. And when you're younger, you think time is forever. I was saying earlier today, we're working on the wording for the Rebbe Ztzl, the Shulim's Matzaiva. Time isn't forever. You would have asked me last Yom Kippur. The Rebbe Ztzl was so udig in her doubt. She stayed home a whole Yom Kippur. She didn't fast well, so she'd stay home. And this year she just felt that I know this was going to be the last one. We talk about kids and risk. They have no sense of this inner self. They don't even doubt because they have no beginning to know of the knowledge. Don't quote proofs at them. Just give them a spiritual life of reality, of a bracha, without musa, without browbeating, without hectoring. You want to find where God is? Look within yourself. Says the Rebbe, so why do you need abstract proof that God exists? Your neshama knows and sees it for itself. We don't need all the proof that we need that there is a God is within us. All we have to do is open ourselves up. So it's now the time before the Yom Tovim, before Rosh Hashanah. We'll soon be saying Slichas in another week or so. Give out. The world has been an upturned, a turned upside down world. With this corona, with the lockdown, we're sitting behind masks. We don't know where to go or what to do. Now's the time to realize that you have a place, a safe place, each and every one of you. It's in your heart. It was there when God created you. And if you know that He's there, everything else will fall into place.